What's going on, guys? Josh here with Trax RC, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you guys my first impressions, and we're going to be unboxing this new RC car on the channel. But before we do any of that, I want to give you guys a little bit of background on this RC, why I got it, and the types of videos that I'm going to make with it. So yes, I know that this RC has been around for a long time, probably a few years, and I've seen all sorts of videos on it of people testing it and stuff like that, and it looks like a very good RC, but I'm kind of skeptical myself about all of these cheaper brand RCs because I've never had one before. But like I said, a lot of people have great luck with these RCs, and yes, this RC was sent to me by Banggood. So if anyone from Banggood is watching this, thank you guys so much for sending me this RC to test out on the channel. I'm really excited about this opportunity, and I definitely hope that you guys can work with me more in the future. Now, just because this RC was sent to me, that does not mean that I'm going to be biased towards it at all because I got it for free. I'm going to be testing this RC a lot differently than other people have tested cheaper RCs. Personally, I don't like when other RC channels test out cheaper RCs because all the videos with them just seem the exact same. So I'm gonna do it a little bit differently, and I think you guys will like that, even if you are not in the market for a cheaper RC like this one. So my plans for this RC is to do an unboxing video and my first impressions of it, which is this video, of course. And then in the next video with this RC, I'm going to do a general drive with it, hit some little jumps, you know, just test it out a little bit, not too extreme, just to kind of mimic what the average person would do if they were to get this RC. And then after that, I am going to send this thing to the moon. It is going to be durability tested to my worst driving, and I think that it will give you guys a good look at how this RC handles in the long run. And honestly, I'm quite optimistic that it's going to handle really well to my durability testing because of all the reviews that other people have made on it. So let's go ahead and open this box up and check this thing out. Alright, so here I think this is the batteries. I did get the model with 2 extra batteries. You can get the model with just 1, 2, or 3. I got the one with 2, obviously. And of course, this is a 2S 2600 milliamp hour battery pack. Now, just because I'm curious, I want to see what the cells are set at right now. So the battery overall is at 7.9 volts, and the cells are definitely not balanced. So I'm gonna have to throw this on my charger and set it to the correct storage charge voltage, which is 3.8 volts. The first cell is at 3.98, and then the second cell is at 4.007. So this one's definitely gonna have to get storage charged. But let's see how the other one compares. Plug it into the cell checker. Overall, the battery is at 7.977 volts. The first cell is at 3.984, and the second one is at 3.9. So this one's a lot more balanced, but it's still not at that 3.8 voltage mark. And so far, that isn't a deal breaker for me. A lot of times, companies do not storage charge the batteries. Sure, it's better if they do, but for the price point of this RC, as long as these LiPos have a good time staying balanced after use and during charging, then there is no reason why these should be bad LiPos. But I'll definitely update you guys on that later in this series that I'm doing with this RC car. So I'm gonna set these off to the side for now. And then right up top, we get the instruction manual, we get a little 4-way wrench, and then the simple USB balance charger right here. And then of course, we get the car itself. And I got the red model, as you guys can see here. And let me tell you, first impressions, it feels pretty quality. Before we take the body off, I do want to check out the radio really quick. Just open it up here. It does not come with batteries. We got some simple functions on it. We have the throttle right here, steering, of course. We have an on and off switch, a mode button. I'm gonna have to look and see what that does. And then we have throttle and steering trims. And it feels like a really good remote. My only complaint is that I have big hands, so my thumb kind of interacts with my finger right there when I squeeze the trigger. So I'm just gonna have to get used to that a little bit. But overall, it feels very good. And you could one-hand drive it pretty easy. So that's definitely a plus for me. So now let's go over all the details on the car itself. First thing that I noticed with the body, it kind of has like these imperfections on it, but it's actually not a big deal. As you can see, those imperfections right there and right here. But that's actually just the protective film that they left on it. So we can peel this off right now, and then the body is going to look brand new. as you can see there, and it looks really good now. I don't think they did the same thing on the wing. Yeah, they didn't do it on the wing, but at least they leave it for you on the body. So now it looks very shiny. Now I don't see this body getting destroyed at all because it's a buggy style RC car. The whole body's kind of like tucked away and it's not really gonna touch anything. So I see this thing holding up pretty well. The wing on the other hand, that is probably gonna get destroyed, but you kind of have to expect that. So I'm just gonna talk about everything kind of individually about this RC, and let's start off with the suspension. It has 4 metal shocks. They do not feel oil filled actually. I might have to open them up and see. The back is definitely a little bit softer than the front, so I might adjust that preload a little bit. It does have full metal links, as you can see here, with plastic rod ends. It's got metal shock towers, front and rear, metal hinge pin braces. The arms feel like they got a pretty decent amount of flex to them. Now for the drivetrain, it has a 540 size brushed motor, which is absurd for this size of RC car, I should mention. This is the same size motor that comes in like a Trax's Slash, which is much bigger. And then it's powered by a ESC receiver combo, and it says that it's 60 amp on there, so I really don't see that thing being an issue either. Especially with this thing running on a 2S LiPo, I have a feeling it's gonna get up and go pretty quick. And of course it has all metal drive shafts. The center one right there is red anodized, and then it has 4 dog bone style axle shafts right here. So that's definitely a nice touch. I don't love dog bones just because if the suspension flexes too much, they can pop out and then you have to take it apart and pop it back in. I would prefer this to have a CV style, but we're gonna have to wait and see with testing if they do pop out. But other than that, they should not break. It does have a metal motor mount, which is nice to see. And that's really it for the drivetrain. We're gonna have to see how it holds up in the future. Now for steering, it does have a kind of a micro size servo. I wouldn't call it a full micro servo, but it's definitely smaller than your typical 1/10 scale servo. It has a plastic servo horn. Would have liked to see that as metal, but it does have a metal servo saver built into the steering bell crank. So hopefully that gives us enough protection so that we don't break that servo horn. Of course, got a metal steering link right here, and then the main brace for the bell cranks is aluminum as well. And I can't really tell, but it looks like the bell cranks ride on a shoulder type metal bushing within the screw. So I don't think it's plastic, so that's definitely nice to see, because plastic bushings in the steering, they just wear out too fast, and then the steering's all sloppy and everything. It's kind of annoying, so that's definitely nice to see. Now for the chassis, it is all metal, and I really like the color of it too. It's this nice like bronze color. Typically, I'm not a fan of metal chassis. I've actually never had an RC with a metal chassis, because they kind of like to bend if you bash your RC hard enough, whereas plastic chassis, they can flex with impacts that the RC goes through. So we're gonna have to see how this holds up. I don't see it being an issue because this is a short and small RC, so the chassis doesn't really have a lot of leverage to bend. So we shouldn't see any issues with that. And of course, all the screws are accessible from the bottom of the chassis, and it's very flat, which is something that you really don't get with plastic chassis these days. They always somehow have some weird imperfections in them. So that's definitely a plus to this metal chassis for this size of RC car. It's got plastic side guards on it to keep some of the debris out. And overall, this thing looks pretty high quality. If I would have seen this RC with no logos on it or anything, heck, no electronics in it either, I would think that this is a new RC from a pretty high-end company. So I'm definitely pretty impressed with the fit and finish on it so far. Now the last thing to really touch on about this RC in particular is the tires. I'm usually not a fan of this like closed rim design, but I think it fits the whole style of this RC pretty well. It actually looks really good in my opinion. And the tires feel very grippy too. We're gonna have to see if they wear out pretty quick. It's got very tiny knobs, so usually those wear out a little bit quicker than other tires, but we're gonna have to see. Overall, I'm really impressed with the quality of this 1/14 scale RC. One thing that I forgot to go over about the chassis is the battery tray. Of course, it uses a Dean's plug on the ESC, and then the battery is held in with Velcro right here. So let's see how this battery fits in here and what the tolerances are like. Now I'm gonna put the wires facing away from the center drive line so then they don't get caught in there. Now one thing that I'm noticing already is that it kind of like sits kind of funky on here because it's resting on this little standoff for the side guard. There's like a little plastic bump right there for the screw to thread into from the bottom. So it kind of rests on that. So hopefully that doesn't become an issue in the future. If I notice some sort of indentation starting on the battery, then I'm gonna throw some foam in this battery tray just to make it a little bit less wobbly in there. So this Velcro kind of has to tuck under the ESC for it to sit right. Kind of a weird design, but it does work, and the battery sits pretty securely in there. I'm gonna throw some rubber bands over the balance lead so then it's tethered to the discharge plug so it's not flopping around everywhere getting caught in the suspension components. That's what I do with all my RCs. And then when I drive it, I'm probably gonna tuck them under the strap right here and then plug it in. Let's plug it in, throw some batteries in the remote, and see just a quick test on the bench if everything works. All right, gotta kind of use a mismatch of batteries here because this is all I got, but it should work fine. Slide this cover back on, power on the radio. It's got a little tiny red light. It's actually pretty dim. It's kind of hard to see. Well, let's plug this in, and then the power button on the ESC is right on top. Well, we got nothing. Maybe these batteries are dead. Oh, turn it back off and turn it back on. I don't even think I ever turned it on. Oh, that's pretty quick. All right, let's throw it on the stand. Get a quick bench test here. I'm gonna do quarter throttle, half throttle, and then full throttle. Let's see how this goes. This thing's quick. Dang. Wow, I'm impressed. I mean, I went full throttle. You guys saw that. And it's torquey too. I'm interested to see what these modes do on the transmitter. It might be like a training mode kinda. So let's see. Well, I don't know if that changed anything. It's still pretty quick. And this battery isn't even fully charged. It's at like 70%. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty excited to get this thing outside, test it out, hit some jumps and stuff like that. And I hope that you guys are too. Like I said earlier in the video, this next video with this RC is going to be the first running video with it. And I'm gonna be kind of easy on it. And then after that, we are going all out. This thing is going to the moon. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that next video with this RC. And with that, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave it a like, share it with others so I can grow my channel. And with that, I will see you guys in the next video. Cause aside from my soul,